Hey everyone, it's Gigi. Welcome back to Gigi's World. Today I'm starting a series on how to make a top in Blender. Throughout this series, we're going to model, sculpt, texture, rig, and upload to Second Life. If you don't play SL, you can still use this tutorial series to help with your projects, and at the end of the series, I'll make the high and low res files for this top available on my Gumroad. If you do play SL, I'll be using the legacy female body for my base. I'm going to be working in Blender 3.0 and using the box modeling method just in case some of you can't get certain add-ons for Blender or they hinder your computer's performance. Also, if you're on SL, check out my store Silu, that's S-I-L-U, and let's get started. So first, I'm going to grab this reference image. Oops. Let's see. There we go. Just dragging and dropping it. And I know this is my first clothing tutorial. Don't be alarmed by this top. It is not that difficult to make. I just wanted to give you something really fun to do because why do something boring, you know? So for rotation, I'm going to set this at 90 on the x-axis and 0 on the y and z axis. Alright, now we have a reference. Let's delete the cube, and we're going to import the OBJ file for the body. So file, import OBJ, and I'm going to find my little bodies folder, and it's gonna legacy. Let's do this one. Loading. Alright. Wow, that picture is big. Scale that down by a lot. There we go. So you always want to create tops in A pose because your arms are naturally going downward majority of the time. And it makes it a lot easier to rig when you create an A pose. So shift mesh, let's do a cube, and I'm going to add a couple of loop cuts here. I'm going to go into edit mode, Control R. Let's see how this 2 does. I think that'll do for now. We can delete the top faces and the bottom faces. Delete faces, and I want to go ahead and scale these outward. And I'm selecting X because it's going to be on the X-axis. Alright. Scale on the A. Scale everything on the Z-axis. Scale everything down entirely. And I'm just going to bring this up. Scale. Let's move the reference image. Can't see it that well. There we go. That's a lot better. And you can just adjust this however you need to. I'll also put the link to this top reference image in the description in case you wanted to use that specifically if seeing it on the screen isn't enough for you. Alright, let's scale this on the x-axis. First, go to Object, Set Origin to Geometry. It was set to the 3D cursor. Okay, scale it down some more. What you want to do is start where you want that bottom edge to be at, and you want to make sure that this is as close to the body as possible. It doesn't need to crash into the body, but you can just make adjustments as necessary. If there's some clipping, it's no big deal. We will end up fixing that later, so don't panic. You're doing everything right. I'm gonna go into edit mode and let's bring all this down on the y-axis. Bring it back some. Selecting this vertex, grab Y. This doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just trying to give myself a really good base to start with. That way it's a bit easier. There we go. Okay. That's looking pretty good. So on this bottom edge right here, I'm going to scale this down so it cinches in at the top. And I'm going to go to the side view. I held down Alt, middle mouse wheel, and move my mouse to the side. And what I'm going to do is go up to about here. Let me bring this down. You don't want to make your polygons too big when you're going up. Later on, you want to be able to have enough geometry to work with. So I'm going to extrude, hitting Z, so it goes up on the Z axis. And I'm going to scale on the Y axis and bring this back just a little bit. Okay, and that's good. Okay, so comes up into the spaghetti straps. We're going to add an edge loop right here and move that to the side just a little bit. And select these edges. Go to the side, E to extrude, E to extrude, E to extrude, E. Let's go back into the front and go ahead and make our corrections. Grab X, grab X, grab X, grab X, and we can just move these however we need to. I'm going to come out of X-ray mode, that way we can see what's going on. And it looks like these edges aren't straight, so I'm going to select those, S to scale, 0, and I'm clicking my middle mouse wheel and moving it around until they straighten out. I'm going to scale that down some more. And it looks like that's about where it's supposed to be on the body. I'm just going to bring that, bring it up just a smidge more, and that's it. Scale that in, and you can go on about making adjustments as necessary. Grab Y, grab X, grab X. This part gets a little bit tedious, but just keep working with it until it covers pretty well. Doesn't have to be completely perfect because we're going to be adding some modifiers that'll clean it up really nice. But you do want to give yourself a good base to work with. So I just want to pull those vertices out a bit so we can see what's happening with them. Okay. So that's pretty good right there. Just going to clean up the outer edge. Alright, looks good to me. So now I am going to just W shade smooth. Go to your modifiers. Go to Subdivision Surface. Tab A, space. I have my space bar to go to search, and I typed in symmetrize, SYMMETRIZE, and it's going from positive to negative X. So now it's all nice and smooth, and I'm going to up the subdivision. Okay, looks good. Going back into edit mode, I'm just going to scale this down a little bit more over here. Well, first, let's turn on the mesh symmetry for the x-axis. Scale this down. And I'm going to bring this out to the side. Also, we're going to add a shrink wrap modifier. Our target is the body, outside surface, and 0.002. That usually works pretty good for me, but play around with it so you get something that you like. I'm just going to scale and bring this over. Bring this vertice back some, bring this forward some. And don't worry about little spots like this, those can be fixed. And so that we give ourselves enough geometry to work with for later, we're going to add in an edge loop right here. Once again, Control R, Control R. Alright. That's looking really good, and I'm going to scale this just a little more. Bring it to the side. There we go. And that looks good. So what I would suggest that you do is go ahead and name your top. Make a copy of it. So now I'm going to go back to the original one and apply. Okay, let's go to edit mode. See what's going on here. And it looks good. What we need to do is start making this little cutout part. So you can select, go to face select, hit C on your keyboard, or circle select, and just use your middle mouse wheel to select more or select less. And you're just gonna start selecting those faces to delete. That looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and delete faces. Go into vertex select. And now we can start cleaning this up a bit. And I want to select these vertices and hit fill, F to fill. That way we can keep quads on our mesh. And we have a clean looking mesh. I'm going to move these vertices up a bit. And these down some. That way it doesn't mess with our shading too much. You can just make adjustments until you're content with how everything looks. And I like this. So I'm going to select A, spacebar, symmetrize. This time it's going to be negative to positive. Okay, now we can start using curves. So go ahead and save your project. And I'm going to save this as top 2 series, top 2. And I'm going to do Shift A and add in a curve. Feeder graph, bring that up some. You just want to scale it so that it can form into the strap. I'm going to go into edit mode. This. And let's rotate this on the Z-axis. Grab on the X-axis. Y, C. And you're going to go to your object data properties, geometry. You're going to up the depth some. And these straps are really thin, these pin straps, so that looks pretty good. And then you want to start just moving your curve into place. I'm going to turn off proportional editing just by selecting on the keyboard. Fun fact, I do not like curves. Some people love them. I know that they can make a lot of things easier like this, but I'm not a fan, just saying. And maybe that's because I am not too great with using them all the time, but I don't like them. I'm going to rotate that. And let's rotate again, bring it down. And you can extrude along curves as well too. It looks like I'm going to have to do that for this because it won't reach without making the strap look super blocky. So E to extrude. I'm going to scale that just a little bit. So control less. Make the handle smaller and just rotate. Working with curves is very tedious if you couldn't tell. I'm going to bring this one up some. Scale that down a little bit. Let's rotate that. I'm just going to keep making adjustments until it's exactly where I need it to be. Don't worry if this takes you a long time. Like I said, it's tedious. Take your time with it. Alright. So finally got that looking pretty good. Gonna bring this out some. Okay. I like how that looked the first time. Bring it down. Bring it out. Let's rotate this. There we go. Once you convert your paths to meshes, you can edit them a lot easier in more specific spots like this. So don't worry if there's a little bit of clipping there. As long as you have it mostly where it needs to be, you're fine. Okay, and I think that's pretty good. For the time being, I'm only going to do one strap, and that's because I just want my UV editing to be a little simpler. I just want to have one item unwrapped for both straps, and I'll explain that in another video in the series when we get to the UV unwrapping part. There we go. Bring this back in and rotate. Alright. And I think that looks really good. I like it, I like it, I like it. Okay, so at the front, you're going to click at the center of the top down here. That way we can start adding curves for the bows. So Shift A, curve, Bezier. We'll just bring that forward some, scale it down. And the depth is going to be 0.01, like the spaghetti strap up here. And what you're going to do from here is go from the select box. You can use these gizmos right here for move and rotate. Makes things a little easier with curves to me anyway. So I'm going to grab this and rotate it. And I'm just going to try to move this into more of a bow shape. So it may take a second to get accidentally extruded. Scale it down. You just want it to end up looking something like this. You can go to the sides and see how it's looking there. And just make small adjustments until it's going the way you want it to. Like about here is pretty good. That's good. And then I can take that vertice and extrude. After extruding, I'm going to scale it down. And I'm going to scale this one down as well, because this is what's going to be going under the top, like here. I'm going to create that illusion. And I want to select this vertice and the end one, scale 0. Middle mouse will click, move it around until they're straight like that. You can bring this down a little bit too. And I'm also going to bring this in along the x-axis. There we go. And I'm going to duplicate this. So Shift D, and I'm right clicking just to lock it in exactly where it's at. Object mirror X, and I'm going to grab that and bring it on over on the X axis. And you can just play around with your vertices until it's looking how you want, because the bows are kind of floppy on the top, so that's why I'm trying to make those adjustments. Here we go. And they don't have to look exactly the same, you know? So now I'm going to take these, grab a Y, and I'm going to scale them down. And you're just going to move them to the correct place on the top. Alright, out there is good. And it looks like the strings on the top are a lot thicker. Let's see what this is set to. It's 0.01 as well. So let's thicken this up a bit. That's looking a bit better. Okay, so 0.04. Let's try that. Okay. We'll bring it down just a smidge. Let's do 0.03 instead. And you can just go back into edit mode and pull these vertices out and just rotate them so that they're not crashing into the top. Now this part right here, it's really not that bad. I would suggest that you choose the vertex that isn't connected to any other one. Rotate that like so. I'm going to do the same thing over here and just make those adjustments until it's no longer falling into the shirt. Grab Y. Okay. And because these strings are hanging right here, what I'm going to do now is go back into edit mode. Let's see. Is this the correct one? And it is. I'm going to extrude that down and scale this a bit, rotate it, grab it, and you can rotate this vertex up here as well. Scale it. Just move it however you need to so that it looks kind of like that. Kind of like your reference image. It doesn't have to be an exact replica, but you want them to look a little floppy. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just gonna scale that and grab it just to move it up a little bit. And I'm going to do the exact same thing with the other curve. See, is that the right one? It is. Right, extrude, rotating it, scaling, and I'm gonna rotate this. Oops, wrong vertex. They're so close together. going to rotate this one as well and scale it down. That's good. Okay. So now we have our floppy strings, and we need to make a little loop right here. And we can just do that with a torus. So Shift A, mesh, torus. It's huge, so we have to scale it down a lot. W, shade smooth, scale. And at this point, you can just go ahead and rotate it 90 on the x-axis. Scale it down. And rotate it 90 degrees on the z-axis as well. There you go. And you can just scale it however you want to so that it looks nice on the center of that bow. Okay. And I know that there are little knots at the ends of the bows. You can use the exact same method. Adding in the toruses. Shade smooth. And another trick you can use is to scale the mesh around itself. When you go into edit mode, Alt S, and it makes it thicker. And you just move your mouse to thicken it or make it a little skinnier. I'm just gonna scale it down, rotate, scale. Okay. Bring it back some. Shift B, rotate, and then scale that on y-axis. So there, now it kind of looks like little knots. And now you can just duplicate this, bring it on over, rotate it so that it fits. Move forward a little bit. And it looks like our curve needs to be edited just a smidge, because right now they're running into each other. See if I can rotate this bit. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing up here. Let's see. Rotate the z-axis. Does that work? Grab it, move forward. And you can just play around with this until it's looking nice and neat. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but I know it seems like a little detail, but the little details matter. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on the other curve as well until I get something that I like. Alright, going to thicken that up a little bit. Okay, there we go. That's all done, and now I'm going to smooth these up a little bit. That's good. you're going to do W, convert to mesh, and then W, convert to mesh for both curves. Alright, and I'm only going to do one of those bows right now. For the same reason, I only did one strap, and that's going to help us with the unwrapping on the next video. So now you have the base of your top, one strap, one bow. The next video, we'll learn how to UV unwrap all of this. So thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful. If it was, go ahead and like and subscribe so that other people can also find this video and learn how to mesh. See you next video. Bye.